The week began with a 10-7 clunker on Thursday Night Football, and it ends with a 10-7 clunker on Monday Night Football. And I know that since I have a former defensive player in Devin McCourty here, he probably loves this kind of stuff when it's a low-scoring defensive battle, right? But it's not like there were a lot of big hits. It's not like there were a lot of, like, blitzes that got home, or it just was. And it's fine. I don't mind it. We're getting toward the end of the season, and we're not going to have football for months, so I appreciate every game we get to see. But, a lot of people were complaining on Thursday night about Raiders-Broncos. Well, you could complain about last night, too, because it was just kind of ugly.
Yeah, and I think last night raised more questions than, oh, my goodness, what an unbelievable performance by, the Packers defense or the Eagles defense. It was just like, what's going on? And I think for Philadelphia, we continue to look at, how does A.J. Brown have 3 targets, and that's 3 targets counting that last one at the end of the game where they probably should have punted the ball but decided to just throw one up. And for the Packers, it's just like you have 3 losses this year where you score under 17 points. And I get it for the Packers. Tucker Kraft goes out last week. You've been playing without Jaden Reed, different guys in and out of the lineup. Dobbs goes out during the game. But, even when they've had most of those guys out there, it's just been very inconsistent of finding a rhythm, whether it was a false start, whether it was Jordan Love trying at the last minute throw a ball to avoid a sack but doesn't get it out of his hands clean, so that takes 3 points possibly off the board. It was just so many different little mistakes. And for the Eagles, it's just like, all right, we're still talking about all of this talent you have, but offensively it just doesn't find its way. You have one good drive in the first half, then a fumble. You have another good drive in the second half where you score a touchdown. It's like, well, guys, that's the game. That's all we brought today. It just, again, it raised more questions last night about both of these teams that we consider contenders, but continue to wonder, when will the full thing be put together?
And in a game like that, certain things do stand out. I want to focus for a second, and we'll hop all over the place like we typically do. But you mentioned the throw to A.J. Brown, the one that ended up being his 3rd target of the night, 4th and 6 from the Green Bay 35 with 33 seconds on the clock, and the Eagles leading 10-7. I think for the first time ever, I heard them say that ESPN Analytics said punt. It always says go. I thought It was just stuck on one setting. It's always go. What's it now? Go. Oh, what's analytics say on this 4th down? Go. How about this one? Go. And Chris and I were talking yesterday about how the mindset has changed. It used to be this loose idea of what was conventional, and that's what coaches do. And if you do what is regarded as unconventional, it doesn't work. That's how you get fired. Now, if you defy the analytics, that's how you get yourself criticized and questioned by the math PhDs who are whispering in the ear of ownership. I doubt there was anyone whispering in anyone's ear last night on that play to Nick Sirianni to throw that ball, to put that ball in the air and to give the ball back to the Green Bay Packers with 27 seconds left and not much real estate needed to set up a potential game-winning field goal. And it was a weird little sequence at the end where they were going to try the field goal, and they got in a free practice kick and realized, screw that, let's throw the ball one more time. And then there was still a second, and the field goal itself after that was a debacle. But that decision by Nick Sirianni could have blown up in his face for the second straight day. A respected coach makes a decision late. Now, it was Mike Vrabel late in the first half on Sunday, but it's Nick Sirianni late in the game on Friday. That could have blown up in his face badly, and that's all we'd be talking about today if the Packers had forced overtime or won the game.
And what was weird to me was the flow of the game. Even if you punt the ball out of the end zone, the way your defense had been playing, the way the Packers offense, however you want to say it, it just felt like it would be really hard for them to get enough yards to get in field goal range. And I think luckily enough for him, he still kind of bet on his defense and the defense the way they played. Jalen Phillips just got there. He was amazing last night in a game, where the offenses are going to be questioned whether they performed at the level that they should or not. Jalen Phillips was unbelievable. Like, Howie Roseman goes and trades for this guy, and he just made play after play and showed up in the big moments. And he played a ton of snaps. But to the point of I just didn't get it, because now if you take away the first play where Jordan Love takes that deep shot to Christian Watson, and instead if he throws a pass like he threw the next down to Bo Melton, if they just get 2 of those, they're in field goal range. Like, it would have been a way easier kick for Brandon McManus, which to me was very interesting. Brandon McManus, a veteran player, if you watch back the sequence where he got the practice kick, they weren't meant to do that. He's yelling at the long snapper to snap the ball, and it almost felt like he was trying to tell LaFleur, hey, I'm going to see if I can make this kick right now rather than wait. And sadly, it reminded me of last year when Rutgers played Illinois and they tried to take the timeout, and they didn't take the timeout in time, so the snap goes and the kid attempts a 58-yard field goal in the win. He misses it. They come back on the field, and instead of kicking on 4th down, they go for it. So I just thought when McManus missed that kick, I thought now Green Bay was going to say, hey, it's not great odds to come out here and try to toss the ball around, but now we know he can't make the kick. We're just going to go for it. And they lined up, and, they try to throw a pass, to the sideline, which we all know we used to call a cheap 5, try to get a cheap 5 yards and get out of bounds. Philly did a good job taking it away. I thought after that, Green Bay should have lined up and ran an offensive snap, because you knew that you knew McManus couldn't make it from there.
Yeah, and the ultimate try was just ugly. It didn't have a chance, and that was that. It made it a weird ending to a weird game on Monday night. And back to what Sirianni did, because the difference between the 35 and the 20 is significant if you do punt it and it goes into the end zone. We've been talking so much this year about how in the kickoff formation, the difference between the touchback at the 20 and the 35, it makes it so much easier if you get the ball at the 35 to get a couple of completions and put yourself in field goal range. It really was bizarre that he did it. And yeah, it's easy to say I trust my defense. I also wonder, and I don't want to do too deep of a psychological dive, but I also do. Because at that moment in the game, A.J. Brown's got 2 targets. And this is a way to cement the game. And this is a way to get a ball to A.J. Brown that is under the circumstances where he usually is in a position to make a play. You do a 50-50 ball, and he goes and gets it. So maybe in Nick Sirianni's mind, in that moment, as the various options and possibilities come together, as his own ESPN analytics machine is telling him go or not go, he's thinking, okay, we slam the door on this game. I trust my defense if we don't do anything here. And I'm going to be dealing with some shit with this A.J. Brown stuff. His first game back from a hamstring injury. He's been targeted twice. Man, the best way to shut that up is to have Jalen with one option. He's not making any reads. He's not running the ball. It's too far to run for the first down. One option. Throw the ball down the field, throw it up for grabs to A.J. Brown, and let him go get it. And if he can make that play, and we've seen him make that play many times, I kill a whole flock of birds with one stone. I just wonder whether that was part of the motivation, because one of the narratives now coming out of this thing is, obviously, A.J. Brown has the big game in Minnesota. Everybody thinks everything's fine. He misses a game with a hamstring injury, and now he's back, trade deadline over. And it's funny how they were talking last night. For a team that absolutely wasn't going to trade A.J. Brown, boy, on the broadcast last night, they sure, and Lisa Salters, I think, giving the report, like, I'm thinking, hey, Lisa, you didn't read your own company's reporting about how, he's not going to be traded. Of course they were in play to trade him. Of course they were. They just didn't get the offer they wanted. And now it's too late. And, man, I think that's going to be that's a thing now. And you know what? If he isn't going to get passes thrown his way on Sunday night when we're there in Philly, I need to take a copy of it. I mean, he read a book last year. And I need to take a copy of Big Shield with me, and I'm going to create a diversion. You go get Big Dom, right? And you get him and I'll go over and I'll slide this on the bench for AJ, because that's going to be a thing now going into Sunday night's game.
You mean Chris will go get Big Dom? Big Dom, if you've seen this, I don't want any problems. There's no diversion coming from me. Sims will go handle you, and then you'll get the book over there. But I agree with what you're saying, and I'll even put some football to it. At the end of the game, I remember when Todd Haley was the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, when we would play them and you be in that situation where, hey, not necessarily fourth down, but they're trying to run the clock out, they're trying to keep possession of the ball, they would throw a shot because they knew the defense had to take away the run. Here it's fourth down. So what they were probably thinking is, hey, every defender is going to be thinking it's 4th and 6. They're going to throw a pass at the sticks. We got to stay around the first down marker. Hey, everybody get around the first down marker. Corners, play the first down marker. So you try to even say from a football kind of strategic standpoint, let's take a shot down the field and see, hey, if we don't get it, the defender might not be ready. We might get pass interference, but no matter what, A.J. Brown's the hero. He's the guy we go to when we need it the most. We go to him because, of all the routes A.J. Brown runs, that deep ball is one of the top ones.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.